If you are over 60 and you walk every day, but your legs still feel weaker than before, this is not your imagination. You may still walk to the store. You may still walk around your neighborhood. You may still walk inside your home. From the outside, everything looks normal, but inside your body, something important has changed. Most people believe walking is enough. Doctors recommend it. Friends recommend it. Every article seems to say the same thing. Just keep walking. And for many years, that advice worked. When you were younger, walking kept your legs strong. It kept your balance sharp. It kept your confidence high. But after 60, something quietly shifts. Walking starts to feel different. Not painful, not impossible. Just heavier. Standing up takes more effort. Your first step feels cautious. Turning your body feels slower. You don't fall, but you don't feel as secure either. This is where confusion begins. You are doing what you were told. You are staying active. You are walking. So why does it feel like your legs are slowly betraying you? Many people blame aging. They say, this is just what happens. Some blame arthritis. Some blame their knees. Some blame their back. But those explanations miss the real cause. The problem is not that your legs are tired. The problem is not that your joints are worn out. The problem is that walking, after a certain age, stops training the muscles that matter most for stability. This is hard to accept because walking feels like leg exercise. Your legs are moving. Your heart rate increases. You feel like you are doing something good. But movement is not the same as activation. After 60, your body becomes very efficient. It learns how to move with the least amount of effort possible. That sounds good, but efficiency has a cost. When movement becomes efficient, fewer muscles are used. The body chooses the easiest path. Walking turns into a forward motion, powered mostly by momentum. Your feet swing, your knees bend. But the muscles that keep you upright and stable are barely involved. You are moving, but you are not stabilizing. This is why walking longer does not make your legs feel stronger. In many cases, it makes them feel more tired and less reliable, because fatigue exposes weakness. Walking trains endurance, but endurance is not what keeps you from falling. Endurance does not help you when you turn suddenly. Endurance does not help you when you step off a curb. Endurance does not help you when you lose balance for half a second. Stability does, and stability comes from muscles that walking barely touches anymore. This is why many seniors say, "I can walk, but I don't trust my legs." That sentence reveals everything. Trust in movement does not come from strength alone. It comes from control. After 60, walking stops challenging control. The body stops asking certain muscles to work. The brain stops checking in with them. The connection weakens. This does not happen overnight. It happens quietly, over years. You don't notice it at first. You adjust without realizing. Your steps get shorter. You widen your stance slightly. You turn more carefully. These changes feel safe, and in the short term, they are. But they also teach the body to rely less on stability muscles. So walking becomes easier, but weaker. This is the walking trap after 60. You move more, but you protect yourself less. This is not because walking is bad. Walking is still important. It keeps your heart healthy. It keeps your circulation moving. It supports mental health. But it is no longer enough to protect your legs. And no one explains this clearly. Doctors do not have time. Articles simplify. Advice stays generic. So people keep walking, wondering why they feel worse. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Millions of seniors experience this. They feel something is off but cannot name it. In the next part, we will explain exactly which leg muscle walking fails to protect, and why that muscle quietly decides whether you will still walk confidently in the years ahead. Once you understand that, everything begins to make sense. To understand why walking stops working, we need to talk about one specific muscle, not the thighs, not the calves, not the muscles people usually point to. This muscle sits deeper, higher, closer to the center of your body. It does not make you move forward. It makes sure you do not fall sideways. Every time you take a step, your body briefly balances on one leg. For a fraction of a second, all your weight is supported by one side. During that moment, this muscle must activate. Its job is simple but critical. It keeps your pelvis level. It keeps your spine upright. It keeps your knee from collapsing inward. Without it, walking becomes unstable. This muscle is often called a hip stabilizer. Many specialists refer to it as part of the glute system, not the big glute muscle people associate with power, but the smaller stabilizing muscle that controls balance. When this muscle is strong, movement feels natural. You do not think about balance. You do not hesitate. You do not brace yourself. When it weakens, everything changes. Walking still happens, but confidence disappears. This is why so many seniors say, "I can walk, but I don't feel steady." That sentence points directly to this muscle. The problem is not movement. The problem is stability. Now here is the part almost no one explains. Walking on flat ground does not challenge this muscle very much. Walking is mostly forward motion. The body moves in a straight line. The pattern repeats. Once the brain learns that pattern, it simplifies it. The body prefers efficiency. Efficiency means fewer muscles are used. The big movers do the work. The stabilizers are left behind. This is especially true after 60. As the nervous system ages, it becomes more conservative. It avoids unnecessary muscle activation. It avoids instability. So the brain says, "We don't need this muscle as much." And the signal weakens. This is not muscle loss at first. It is signal loss. The muscle is still there, but the brain stops calling it. This is why many people look strong but feel weak. The engine is present, but it is not engaged. When the stabilizer shuts down, other parts of the body take over. The knees begin to absorb side-to-side forces. The lower back tightens to keep you upright. The ankles work harder to correct balance. This creates a chain reaction. Knee pain appears. Hip stiffness increases. Lower back fatigue becomes common. People think, "My knees are bad. My hips are worn out. My back is failing." But the root problem is higher. It is the stabilizer that was supposed to protect everything below it. This is why walking longer does not fix knee pain. This is why walking more does not improve balance. Walking does not ask this muscle to do its job. It lets momentum handle the work. Now think about how walking looks as people get older. Steps become shorter. The body stays more centered. There is less side-to-side shift. That feels safer. But safety comes at a cost. Less side-to-side movement means less stabilizer activation. So the muscle becomes even quieter. This is the trap. The more cautious you become, the less the stabilizer works. The less it works, the more cautious you feel. It is not a lack of effort, it is a feedback loop. And walking alone reinforces it. This is also why treadmills are especially ineffective for this problem. The belt moves your legs for you. The ground is predictable. There is no demand for balance correction. The stabilizer gets almost nothing. So people walk, and walk, and walk. But the muscle that keeps them upright continues to fade. Doctors rarely explain this because it is not measured in tests. There is no blood marker for it, no scan that highlights it clearly. It shows up only in movement, in hesitation, in balance, in how safe someone feels in their body. This is why the problem is misunderstood. People think strength is the issue. They try to walk faster. They try to walk longer. But speed and distance do not equal stability. Stability comes from control, and control comes from this muscle doing its job again. The good news is this: when the brain reconnects with this muscle, changes happen quickly. Not because the muscle grows overnight, but because the signal returns. When the signal returns, movement feels safer. Steps feel lighter. Turns feel smoother. Standing feels more controlled. This is why some people say, "I didn't get stronger, but I feel more stable." That is the stabilizer waking up. In the next part, we will talk about how daily habits silently shut this muscle down. Not because people are careless, but because life after 60 pushes the body toward comfort and safety. Understanding those habits is the key to reversing the process. Most people do not lose stability because they stop moving. They lose it because movement becomes too comfortable. After 60, life slowly reorganizes itself, not in dramatic ways, in small ways. You sit a little longer. You stand a little less. You choose the easier option. None of this feels wrong. In fact, it feels responsible. Chairs become more appealing. Couches feel safer. Cars replace short walks. The body spends more time with the hips bent. In that position, the stabilizing muscle we talked about is almost silent. The brain notices patterns. If a muscle is not needed, the signal weakens. This is not punishment. It is efficiency. Another habit is careful movement. As balance becomes less certain, people adjust. Steps get shorter. The feet land closer together. Turns become slower. This feels safer. And in the short term, it is. But shorter steps reduce side-to-side weight shift. That side-to-side shift is exactly what the stabilizer needs. Without it, the muscle has no reason to engage. So the brain stops calling it. Another habit is avoiding uneven ground. Grass, curbs, stairs, slopes. People learn to avoid them. They choose flat surfaces. They plan routes carefully. They remove challenges. Again, this feels wise. No one wants to fall. But challenge is how the nervous system stays awake. When the environment becomes predictable, the brain relaxes. The stabilizer becomes optional. Another habit is holding on. Hands reach for walls. Hands reach for furniture. Hands reach for railings. This reduces load on the hips. The body says, "We don't need to balance. Something else is doing it for us." The stabilizer rests again. Another habit is fear. Not fear in the dramatic sense. Quiet fear. The fear of slipping. The fear of falling. The fear of embarrassment. Fear changes how the body moves. Muscles stiffen. Movement becomes guarded. The brain prioritizes safety over control. This creates tension, not stability. The stabilizer does not respond well to tension. It responds to calm, controlled loading. Fear shuts it down. Another habit is doing exercises that look like walking. Many seniors are told to do marching in place, seated leg lifts, straight leg movements. These exercises feel productive, but they are still forward motion, still predictable, still missing side-to-side control. So the stabilizer remains quiet. This is why people say, "I exercise, but I don't feel more stable." They are exercising the wrong message. Daily life after 60 teaches the body to avoid instability. But stability is not built by avoiding it. It is built by managing it. This is the paradox. The more we protect ourselves, the less capable we become. Not because we are weak, but because the brain adapts. The stabilizer is not broken. It is underused. This is also why the decline feels confusing. There is no injury, no single moment, No clear cause, just a gradual loss of trust. You wake up one day and think, I don't move the way I used to. That thought creates more caution. More caution reduces activation, and the cycle continues. This is not aging. This is adaptation. And adaptation can be reversed, but only if the brain receives a different signal. In the final part, we will talk about what actually helps. Not extreme exercise, not pushing through fear, not walking longer, but restoring the signal that tells your body, I can control my movement again. That is where real confidence returns. Here is the most important thing to understand. Nothing is broken. Your legs are not failing. Your joints are not useless. Your body has not given up. The stabilizing muscle we talked about is not gone. It is quiet, and quiet muscles can be awakened. This is where many people get discouraged because they think the solution must be extreme. They imagine heavy exercise. They imagine pain. They imagine risk. That is not how this works. This muscle does not respond to force. It responds to signal. The brain needs to feel controlled instability, not danger, not strain. Just enough challenge to say, I need to stay awake. This is why pushing harder often backfires. Fear tightens the body. Tension blocks coordination. The stabilizer does not turn on in a tense body. It turns on when the body feels safe while being challenged. That may sound subtle, but it changes everything. Progress begins when movements slow down, when attention returns to the body, when the brain becomes involved again. Many people expect progress to feel dramatic. It does not. It feels quiet. One day, you notice standing up feels smoother. Another day, you notice turning feels easier. You may not celebrate it. That is a good sign. When improvement feels ordinary, control has returned. Another important point is patience. The nervous system learns in layers. Some days feel better. Some days feel slower. This does not mean you are regressing. It means the brain is adjusting. If one day feels harder, you do less. Not because you are weak, but because you respect the signal. Consistency matters more than effort. Small signals, repeated calmly, create lasting change. This is how stability is rebuilt, not in weeks of pain, but in weeks of clarity. This is also why comparison is dangerous. Some people recover quickly, others take longer. That does not mean something is wrong. Your history matters. Your habits matter. Your nervous system has its own pace. The goal is not perfection. The goal is trust. Trust that your body can respond. Trust that movement is safe again. Trust that you are not fragile. The trust changes how you move, and how you move changes everything. As stability returns, walking begins to feel different, not heavier, lighter, not cautious, natural. Walking becomes enjoyable again because it is no longer compensating. This is when independence returns, not suddenly, gradually, and quietly. If this video helped you understand why walking stopped working, the next videos will help you understand how to support your body without fear. One topic at a time, one system at a time. Because after 60, clarity is more powerful than intensity, and control is more important than strength.